What is up, YouTube? So it's been a very long time since I uploaded anything on this channel, but with Halo Infinite coming out in less than 30 days, I thought it was time that I make a bit of a return. So what I want to go through today is the Halo Tech preview that just came out on Waypoint, where they talk about some of the changes that they've made following off feedback from a flight. Now, I'm not going to go through everything on this article, but I'm going to go through some of the things that I think are the most important for you guys to know. So with that said, let's get started. First things first, I'm going to be skipping right down to the live part of the article. This is where they talk about the ranking system and XP in Infinite, which I think is one of the more important things that we need to understand. So currently in Halo Infinite, we only have the Battle Pass as a progression system. This is where we unlock all customization options. There isn't going to be a broader progression system outside of this, however. So we are pretty much stuck with the Battle Pass, which, don't get me wrong, is a great Battle Pass if you compare it to other multiplayer games. It's great that we can go back to it and unlock all our stuff even when the season's finished, but we aren't going to be getting a system like that in Halo 3 and Halo 5 for ranked. However, they do say later on in the article that they plan on introducing a new progression system on top of the Battle Pass. It's just going to take them time to come up with something that has a good design and presentation. So I think everyone can agree that so long as we get a progression system, like everything else in Infinite, it's going to be coming a bit later. But so long as it's done well and it's high quality, that's all that matters, right? I'm also quickly going to mention that they are sticking with their guns about having XP earned only through completing daily and weekly challenges. This means that you're not going to get XP for grinding out games and matches, which I think is a little bit annoying because you should be rewarded for the time that you're putting into the game. But hopefully in the future, they add at least some form of XP for winning or completing matches. Another quick little fix they've done is to the double XP boost. Before it was taking off during the menus, and it does look like they have fixed it. So next up, they're going to talk about the combat sensor or radar and how they've gone with the legacy motion tracker for social settings. Now, the only real complaint people had was the range of the radar, especially in big team battle. So it looks like shortly after launch, they're going to be increasing it from 18 meters to 22 meters, which is a nice change. Makes that radar a little bit more effective in those bigger maps. Then we have a little bit of talk about the maps and the modes. I'm just going to go straight to the modes and where they talk about flag melee damage. So some people wanted a instant melee kill with the flag, which is how it's been in other Halo titles, but they're sticking with a double beatdown. However, you do swing faster than a player who is holding a weapon. Another interesting change they've made with the flag is the flag interactions with vehicles. So I'm sure you guys have seen on YouTube like a lot of people pushing the flag around with ghosts, etc. They are going to be removing that as they gives a bit too much power to the vehicles and remove some of the teamwork aspect that there is in CTF. I think this is a good change. You don't want the vehicles to be the main point of contention in these CTF games. You want the power weapons to still remain the focus. Moving on from that, they go on to talk about PC. Now, I'm going to be playing on PC, but I've heard great things about the Series X, and it looks like a phenomenal console as well. But for PC, they are not going to be introducing an exclusive full screen mode at launch, which I think a lot of people wanted on PC. It's what they're used to. It's kind of a preference for FPS games. Usually makes them run better, but their argument is that it doesn't give you any significant performance advantages. So I'm not a tech guy, I'll take their word for it, but it does look like they will be investigating adding this post-launch. They also quickly say about improving performance on PC, which is a great thing. It ran pretty well on PC for the most part. Frame rate was pretty decent, but I think there could be a lot of improvements made and it could be a lot more stable as a PC game. Next up is probably one of the more important parts of the article where they talk about aim. Now, there was a lot of debate about the aim in Halo Infinite. Some people thought the aim assist was too high, some people thought it was too low, but I think the general consensus was that the aim in general didn't feel quite as crisp as it should do. So what they've done is, instead of increasing the strength stickiness of the aim assist, they've increased the cone angle of aim assist for select weapons, and I'm going to put them up here. These are only small little tweaks, so I don't think there'll be too much of a problem. But it's good to see some of these changes, as I do think that the aim assist was a little bit weak and a little bit inconsistent at times. However, I think most people can agree that we don't want a super strong aim assist. We want it somewhere in the middle so that there is a little bit of a skill gap with aim and you can't just hit your shots every single time. Lastly, they mention how the red reticle will not be coming to the PC version of the game, and the reason is pretty simple. It's a good form of anti-cheat, so I'm perfectly okay with this. It just means we're going to have to spend a little bit more time getting used to that aim assist range on PC. Now, coming towards the end of this article, we get into the weapons section, which is pretty damn important. So they talk about the VK-78 Commando, really powerful gun in this game, and you can kill people very quickly at close range, and long range it was super effective as well. So the only change that they've made to this, it's quite a big one, is it requires one more bullet to secure a kill. So even though this is quite a big change, I don't think it will affect the effectiveness of the gun too much, as it was already killing people super quickly. If anything, this just makes it a bit more balanced with guns like the battle rifle and sidekick. One of the last big things that I read on this article as well is about the S7 sniper. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys saw on Twitter and YouTube the hipfire accuracy of the S7 sniper being very inconsistent at mid to long range, and this is actually intentional. They don't want the gun to be hip fired from medium to long range. They'd rather use scope in. However, at close ranges it's still pretty accurate, so you can fire from the hip still and use the one-shot beatdown, but at mid to long ranges it is going to have that little bloom effect, which personally I'm not too happy with. I think it should be more consistent like it is in previous Halo titles, but we'll see how it plays out. The final things we're going to get into are the player collision and the knockback and physics impulses. Looks like they're on the same page with us there. I think they were a little bit lackluster in the flight, and by the looks of it they are going to increase these for launch so that we can have much more creative and fun plays in the sandbox, which everyone loves to see. You know, when I hit someone with a gravity hammer, I want everything to go completely ballistic around me, just like it was in previous Halo games. The absolute final thing that I'm going to go through is the player collision in Infinite. So in the flight there was no player collision. This means that you could freely move in between other players. Whilst this is good, it means you can't do things like jumping on your body and stacking on top of each other on vehicles, kind of fun stuff like that. But I do understand that it can be relatively annoying, especially at the start of the match, and it can really affect your movement in the game. So they have gone with no player collision for launch. As with everything else though in the article that I've mentioned, it does look like they are going to be monitoring these things on a day-by-day or weekly basis, and based on community feedback it looks like they will be making changes, which is really great to see. But that is it for this video. I went through as much of the Halo Tech preview as I could. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you wish to follow me. I will be streaming on Twitch, Halo MCC, and Halo Infinite, of course, when it comes out.